What up, everybody? I'm your host, JP, and this is my co-host, Josh.
Hey, everybody.
And welcome back to another episode of the FilmBros podcast. All right, Josh. So, I got another movie review. Something a little different. A little left field. A little... is it new? Kind of. I mean...
No. Came out a year ago, I think.
Well, I mean, not the movie, but the concept. I'm thinking, like, is the concept, like, a new wave? Because I will say, this movie we're about to talk about, a lot of people were talking about it. A lot of people were having a fun time. A lot of women were having a fun time, I feel. So, I mean, I don't know. You watched it. You kind of see what I'm saying? Like, is the concept a little bit different?
No, I don't think so. I think we've had similar things like to this one. We have to. We have to.
All right, we'll discuss it a little bit further. Josh, let them know what we're talking about today, and we'll really start diving into it.
We're talking about The Housemaid 2025.
Hi, Melody. Hi, Mrs. Winchester. Oh, please call me Nina. Come on in.
So why do you want this job?
I just really enjoy being a housemaid. For the right families, of course.
You know this is a live-in position, right?
Ta-da! This is your room.
What do you think?
It's perfect.
Okay, good.
So, would you like the grand tour? See what you're getting yourself into? The job is mostly cleaning, organizing, some light cooking.
Hello?
Millie's gonna be living with us.
She's gonna live with us.
Andrew, I told you that. She'd be part of the family.
I want you to feel safe here.
I do.
Yes, Josh, like you said, we're a little bit late to the party, okay? We're a little late. That's okay. This movie, I gotta be honest with you, all right? Initial reaction when I first seen it, I said, hey, this is probably not my movie, right? I said, hey, this is probably gonna be, something that maybe girls will really like. Maybe, I should have known better because Sydney Sweeney's in this movie, and I was like, she is there for the male gaze, in my opinion. She is honestly in a lot of things for the male gaze. It's unfortunate that she's kind of getting to that position, but it is what it is. It seems like those are the roles that she's taking, especially with like Euphoria season 3, what we've been seeing and stuff. Is what it is. I gotta be honest, this one was not on my radar as heavy, and I was like, when it comes out on streaming, but I actually wound up buying it on physical. So I mean, Josh, what was your kind of like initial thought when you saw this movie and like walking into it? What were you thinking this movie was gonna be?
Man, I told you. I thought this movie was gonna be another fucking like 50 Shades of Grey, some shit like that, like chick flick like that. I told you, like that's the vibe it was giving off, and like it almost had me. I thought the movie played me for a fool for a good half of that shit. So I was like, okay, you know what I mean? But I would say that was my initial thought. I mean, even when we saw the trailer, I was like, this feels like another one of those movies.
Yeah, just a little bit more on the horror side for sure, because it when I say like a new concept in the beginning, I do mean it's kind of like a newer concept, because I don't think, obviously we've had women coming out on top, and we've had J-Lo's enough, right? Like we've had the actual like Tina Turner story and all that stuff. So it's like we've seen this kind of concept where like the woman prevails and all that stuff. Like but this one is a little bit different, right? Where it's like it plays out in a way where like a toxic relationship where like one is gaslighting the other one, and they got to kind of play along, and until eventually a twist happens within the movie, and it causes things to change said gaslighting into certain different elements that were obviously used, which it was fun. It was nice, right? But yeah, I think this concept kind of hatched off the back of like other, like I said, concepts like Enough and all that stuff, where those walk. This one kind of took it, ran with it, and jabbed everybody with a knife on the way out. They were just like, hey,
Yeah.
it is what it is. But yeah, I think it's time for us to start diving a little bit into this film. Josh, obviously there's spoilers for the people out there. We're gonna do our best to obviously keep it spoiler free as much as possible, but there's no promises here, so spoilers up ahead for sure. Josh, you kind of want to break down this movie a little bit, then we'll go through the Rotten Tomato score and all that good stuff.
I don't want to spoil it, so
Just the gist of it.
okay. Sydney Sweeney plays this care housemaid in an attempt to get away from her past. Only thing is, the family she works for, the wife, the husband, and maybe not the kid, aren't who they say they are. And there's some shady things going on. So the movie throws you for a loop, and that's kind of where we're at. And she plays the housemaid for a majority of the. I mean, yeah, she's the housemaid. That's
a good way.
That's pretty much it.
A good way, spoiler free to put it, I guess. Yeah, I like it. You did say a couple of the cast members. Sydney Sweeney is in there, and so is Amanda Seyfried. 73% certified fresh on the tomato meter, with a 92% on the popcorn meter, verified hot for the audience. I mean, do we agree?
I agree. I can get behind that score. No judgments here.
No. We're looking at in nobody's sideways, right? If you didn't like it, I can kind of understand why you wouldn't like it. Maybe we could talk about what is maybe not to like from this film towards the end of it. But for the most part, I get behind all of this, right? Directed by Paul Feig. Not really too familiar with his work. Not sure if he's done too much. Let me see here. He's done like some TV series, produced some. He played a character back in 1995 in a show called Heavyweights. Never seen that. So very much.
He did the female Ghostbusters.
Yeah, he produced it, right?
No, directed it. On Letterboxd, it says he directed it. He did The Heat. Oh, I like The Heat. That's not bad.
I see produced on all of it. I don't see
He
any
did,
director creds. Everything.
He said
executive producer.
He said Jackpot with what's her name?
Jackpot. With
John Cena and yeah.
Oh, he did direct that one. No. He directed that one. So when did he start actually like? Because this one says executive producer, but he probably directed an episode. Let me see an early movie. You said he did
He did The Heat. Yeah, he did the female Ghostbusters.
Oh, right here. Oh, he did direct it. Okay, all right. So his track record isn't the hottest then. I mean, I was gonna leave it at he's a little unknown to me, but he doesn't have the hottest track record right now. Let me just be honest here. Paul Feig is the director. Sydney Sweeney as Millie Calloway, Amanda Seyfried as Nina Winchester, Brandon Sklenar, which a lot of people want him to play Batman. He's playing Andrew Winchester. Indiana Ellie as Cece Winchester, which is the daughter. Michael Moreno as Enzo, and so on and so forth. The rest of the cast kind of falls in line, but that's basically the big dogs of the movie. Start with characters. Josh?
I think I liked everybody's character. I mean, I think there was a couple standouts. If we're talking actor side, everybody killed it, but Sydney Sweeney, unfortunately. I think I vibe with everybody else though.
Any reasons why Sydney Sweeney was not your favorite in this film?
She was flat, dude. She was so flat. Everything that she said, every reveal that she had, every fucking reaction she had was so flat. It was so like, but you told me to do that. Like, I don't know. There was no convincing on her part. I guess the best scene of hers was when, she was told to basically punish herself. Like that's the best, and even then, it's like right at the end. So there's no real, there's no real chops here.
I know she also did that horror movie too. Not The Nun. It was something different, right? She did. It was a different horror movie. I don't know. I never watched it. Never been a big fan of Sydney Sweeney. I can kind of follow you when you say that she was kind of flat. When you say that she was kind of flat in this one, I didn't. I Amanda Seyfried. She was really good. I like Brandon Skellner as the husband as well. Honestly, I even think the daughter was given a better performance than Sydney Sweeney herself, which I thought was kind of insane.
Crazy.
To say. Especially, Sydney Sweeney with her roots and all that stuff. But that's what I'm, was kind of getting at in the beginning as well. Like, Sydney Sweeney is at the point where I feel like she's just there for the male gaze. It's not really, her acting chops don't have to necessarily be there if she's surrounded by two other people that are basically selling it, right? And
right.
I say that is bullshit because she's supposed to be the one who's selling half of this stuff. Even when, like I said, I'm trying to keep it as spoiler free as possible, but like when there's those moments of like affair and stuff like that, it was more like it felt more like she was forced to do it than she was wanting to do it as she wanted to do it, right? Like in the movie they set it up as it was a want as well, not necessarily, and obviously it's bad, but like she couldn't play both sides. I don't feel like she couldn't show that guilt and also pleasure at the same time, if that makes sense. Right. So I feel like what they opted to do was just show her full body instead, and it was like, wow, that is, for some people might be amazing, right? And then like this is a great cop out for me.
Right.
I mean, we talked about it before. I feel like unnecessary sex scenes in movies are kind of ridiculous, and though I can say that maybe this one was possibly necessary into this film, it's it makes me sound a little gay to be like, I don't want to see Sydney Sweeney on my screen, but at the same time I just don't want it to be for nothing, right? Like I'm there for the movie, and for you to just throw Sydney Sweeney in there, it's like, oh, it's a nice treat, but what a distraction, right? It's like throwing a flashbang in my face. It's like, why?
Right.
Why'd you do that? Is it because she couldn't perform that scene as it needed to be? It is what it is. I mean, good cop out, but we could have asked for more instead of settling for the basic, right?
Yeah. Right. And she just, I don't know, dude. She just couldn't save it for me.
Even the like, well, okay, well, let's just say, wait, save the movie or the scene, or because I'm talking
her
more
role.
like she's, if you can kind of agree with me, and then you could kind of get to your point, but like, is she kind of there for that reason as like a male gaze drive in, other eyes besides obviously women?
I mean, I'm pretty sure. You know what I mean? And like, unfortunate that she fell into that trap, but she's kind of leaned into it, so we can't fully blame her for that. So I mean, kind of male candy, kind of trying to be good, but it's a bit of harder to be taken seriously when you're just eye candy.
Yeah, we need to have a little both, right? A little
right.
of the chops to kind of be there with. Like Amanda Seyfried, I think she's pretty and all that stuff. I don't think she really needs to show her body off like that in order to prove a point, and I think she smashed this movie. Like she completely killed every scene that she was in, from her being freakish to, I did think that she played it a little over the top a couple of the times, but obviously that's where they were going for, so I can let it slide. But she did amazing, and let's just be honest, there was no cop outs for her. So
right,
maybe she just doesn't play that role no more. And I gotta say, Brendan, I haven't seen him in a lot of like films, and I really enjoyed him in this film for like what he was, and even with the, the little twists and turns that were there, I really appreciated him.
Yeah, I think she was great. I hadn't put my nose on who Brandon Sklenar is up until you said his name. Me and CJ thought he was like an off-brand fucking um, what's his name? Tom Cruise's protege. What's his name?
Oh, Glenn Powell.
Glenn Powell. We thought he was like an off-brand Glenn Powell,
No,
knowing that we've seen him in like Drop and stuff.
he wasn't Drop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I don't
I
think
think
I've
they
seen him
killed
in
it.
anything else besides that, to be honest.
Really? Let me see.
I'm trying to think.
He was in Vice.
No.
No, yeah, no. I guess his big break was Drop. It Ends With Us. He was in that one.
Westworld. He was in Westworld. Maybe
Oh,
he.
Blake Lively.
I only got to season 2 of that show, so if he came out after season 2, then I didn't see him in that one. Unless I did, and I just didn't know who he was at the time. Maybe.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think the Drop was probably his big break.
Yeah, and I mean that's cool. And this one obviously is gonna skyrocket him. Sucks he can't, or capitalize on a sequel or nothing like that. But that's okay. We can move on to different ventures like the Batman, like we said, right? Or how people say, I don't know if he's Batman material. I haven't seen him in like a dramatic role just yet, or at least a crazy dramatic role where he has to play some kind of Batman type. I know a lot of people were kind of reaching for, what is it? The Reacher star, Alan Richardson.
Fucking
Yeah, but
Alan
obviously
Richardson.
because he's been in Reacher and they're like, oh, he's the perfect Batman. Look at him, he could obviously do both roles or whatever. But he has the physique. I will say he does have the physique. It's really cool. Plot. This is where, like I said, the concept and all that stuff kind of comes into play here. I liked it. This concept of like, the women. I'm trying to be as spoiler free, but it is unfortunate that I can't keep it 100%. But like, the toxic relationship thing is obviously like a regular trope, and them to take it into a different direction with like, obviously, what do you call it, infidelity and all that stuff. Like, I'm saying all that stuff has been seen. So like when you guys are like scratching your head like, oh, like this concept isn't new, I'm saying this concept of like making it seem like the men are crazy or something like that. And how do you say it? This kind of psychological abuse kind of thing. I feel like it has been more of a popular trend in the 2019 to like later on. And I feel like this is kind of like the love child of everything that basically came before, if that makes sense.
It does have its moments where it feels very like on the nose, but I don't know why. You're probably right. I don't know why we're in that era. You know what I mean? Because I was looking up similar movies to this, and I mean, you got fucking Invisible Man, you got Split, you got fucking like a handful of movies.
Yeah.
Fucking Blink Twice, Watcher, Orphan, like the trope that is kind of becoming the norm is this one. And I mean, I guess as a dude, it doesn't really bother me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like as a movie viewer, it's also, I mean, I would say it probably bothers me because it's not the best kind of trope. You know what I mean? It's not my favorite trope anyway.
Yeah.
And while I'm sure this catches people's attention, and I mean the way this movie did it was kind of flawless, it's gonna become very stale if we have to continue watching shit like this.
Yeah, because the best way I can put it, I'm glad you brought up Invisible Man, because that's a great kind of like example, because we watched it with multiple women around, right? And when it seemed like it was the woman not doing enough, or it was them as the victim and everything. It seemed like they hated the movie, right? And even with this one as well, it like in the beginning, I watched it with my girl, and it seemed like she was hating the movie in the beginning. And then it wasn't until a certain point where like it switched. Same thing with Invisible Man, where like it switched, and it was like, oh my, like it turns it around. So I don't know if like maybe this is the ultimate horror movie for like women. I don't know. Like, are we that scary? Is men scary to this point? I don't know.
I mean, they say that that men can be scary. I don't know to this extent. I don't know. I'm sure it's all exaggerative, but I don't know.
Nah, not really. I mean, there is some crazy stuff. I mean, I've seen a lot of like body cam videos. There was literally one where like a girl she was dog collared chained to her like top floor, and her man like left her there for like a whole day or something like that. So I mean, it happens. These things, men do that. Women do it too. I'm not saying that it's one or the other. I think it's funny to me when these movies come out and it's like, I kind of seen it coming, unfortunately, with this whole plot thing, because I even told my girl too. I was like, I feel like the guy's not in the clear here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't feel like he's, I don't feel like he. There was one line that really put it out for me, and that was like in one moment where they were like, "Oh yeah, you have the perfect husband" or something, and I was like, "No, that's not the way that it works."
I didn't pick up on it until like super fucking late, actually.
Yeah.
Until dude was like, "Oh, you'll learn." That was kind of my hint, but by then everything had already went sideways. So that's when I fully was like, "Oh shit, he's insane. He's the one that's making people go crazy."
Oh, so it just
So
it did take you a second. Okay. Well, it's good to know
yeah.
that it sat there for a second for you, because I didn't, like I said, it was an educated guess, and when I hit the mark, I was just more like, I was like, damn, it was one of those movies. Which, like I said, I appreciate that they didn't just be like, oh, man, bad because he's narcissistic or whatever. Like this was actually a horror movie, and it added more volume. That the extra steps were there. The torture and whatnot that was put into the film and all that, but. Yeah, I mean, plot-wise, like I said, concept has been, for the past few years, has been beat to death. I gotta be honest. But, I gotta say, Amanda Seyfried in the front, and I guess Sydney Sweeney, too. I really like Brendan as well. Like, I feel like they made it work for this movie. So, I gotta give the plot basic plot, but really elevated by the characters, right? Camera work, cinematography.
A lot of it was cool. I mean, you had a lot of basic stuff, but a lot of it, for the most part, was pretty cool about how it like moved around the room and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think it does pretty good. I can't hate it. I can't knock it. Like I was kind of visually uh stunned by some of it.
Yeah,
Some of it was atrocious, but some of it was also really good.
I don't think there was any bad shots. But I don't think he did anything new or anything that really like flip the camera work on its head or something. You know what I mean? Like everything felt pretty standard, and like even scenes like this, it was just more like, oh, okay, standard horror movie shot, right? Like it was just. Everything felt basic with the camera work. That's why I'm trying to like figure out like, was there anything that really really stood out? And I can't really think of anything that stands out when it comes to the camera work. Yeah. So kind of basic when it comes to that department.
Very basic stuff, but it was cool. I enjoyed it for the most part.
And I mean, I think that's basically everything. One thing I will give it points for. CGI blood was not CGI, and so that was pretty cool. It was just, it looked pretty real. It didn't feel like, like they had to overdo it, over the top scenes. I think the most over the top was like the climax, which was fine. and it worked out. There was a scene that actually made me kind of like wince a little bit, and that's a positive for me, that because that doesn't really happen for a lot of movies. Yeah, yeah.
Um, I don't, I don't know. Well, I don't know. I think I want to keep talking about Sydney Sweeney and how she kind of sucked.
Well, like I said, that's where we're gonna get to this back end before we give our rating and all that stuff. I kind of wanted to give reasons why
Okay.
I basically did not like this film. Besides,
CGI blood was tough.
but it wasn't
Ah,
bad. Like I said,
the
it wasn't bad.
the closest we got to, I mean, the real stuff was when she was like doing that stuff, right? Like the stomach thing.
Well, no. Well, I mean, like I said, I think the only over the top scene where like maybe they used a little bit of CGI blood and all that stuff was obviously the climax. But everything else was
Well,
pretty
yeah,
much
when
yeah.
he,
But everything else was pretty much
sliced it nuts. No.
yeah. Not supposed to say
Um,
anything. It's a spoiler. But yeah. Uh, the things I did not like about this film.
He's
Well,
in, I think side characters. I don't think that. I think there wasn't enough side characters. I think her backstory too needed work. I know that kind of has to do with like plot and stuff, but now that I'm thinking about it, not enough side characters and her backstory. I was thinking about it all day actually, because they say she went to prison and all that stuff, and then for no reason did her roommate like not want to confess to what happened. I think they could have went that route and been like she was bribed, or you know, she didn't want to lose her scholarship, something, anything down those lines, other than we don't know why she just chose not to. I don't know. I don't. It was things like that.
yeah.
Uh,
That's where I was gonna kind of get to was I gotta say, the concept, like I said, it only works if like the most shittiest shit things ever happened to you in the life, like exactly what you said. She saved her friend, and the friend just said, "No, like you're gonna go down for this." She went down for that, okay, and then for me, setting up anybody to go out is terrible. So like there was a few scenes where like obviously a lot of the things were, it's only going to work out if nobody really says anything and you just kind of move it along kind of thing. And there was a couple times where I was like, "Hey, no. You guys are more of an asshole for allowing this stuff to happen than to stop it and actually to put your foot down and be like, no, like that is going too far, right?" I got to be honest, by the end of it, I didn't know who I was rooting for. Okay, I think that was one thing that this movie kind of got a little askew. I was just like, okay, well, do I really care? That they did all this, because it's still like, who's really the bad guy out of everything, right? Like you set them up, they were set up, this person was set up, you set them up to go even further. It just seems like, and then by the end of it, you're gonna make a job out of it, a fucking career. So it's like, I don't know if I can root for this hero or anti-hero or whatever they're supposed to be. You know what I mean?
right. And like everybody was so cool about the kind of thing that they did. There's only gonna, okay, how are you gonna cover up this many disappearances surrounding one person? You know what I mean? The cops can only do so much before someone's like, "Hey, this neighborhood got something going on." You know what I mean?
Right.
So, like, that's what I think. But I don't know. That's the thing. I mean, I wouldn't say I was rooting for anybody. I mean, this movie clearly was just trying to make like the point of like, oh, well, men can be bad. It's clearly all his fault. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean,
And like,
yeah, but I felt like with every movie. I mean, with these kind of movies, like there's the final girl is always the one who's rooted for. Like you always want that final girl. Scream does it. Halloween does it. Every like horror movie, like when you're in the right, like I said, this concept hasn't been new. When the J-Lo did it back in the day with Enough, it was cool. You rooted for her because you knew the guy was a piece of shit, and she did everything that she can to stop him. And yeah, ultimately it ended in his tragic ending, but that was because he didn't stop, and she gave him multiple chances to stop. This one, it just felt nonstop. No, I'm gonna do what I need to do, and I don't give a fuck about the consequences. And then by the end of it, there was no consequences to be had.
Right. And like that's the thing. Because they definitely don't set her up to be a hero. What does she do really outside of, I guess, an affair?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like she was basically set up. She was basically the ticking time bomb that was set there. Sydney Sweeney's character was a ticking time bomb set there to basically explode and do everything, be the replacement at the same time. So you replace the person that obviously is in distress with the ticking time bomb, and then eventually that ticking time bomb is the one that does everything. In my head, I'm like, you couldn't do it yourself. You got to set somebody else up to do it for you. Like, I mean, I think I would have rooted for Amanda Seyfried's character a little bit more if it was something down those lines where like she was just trying to pull survival instead of actually setting homeboy up. I thought that was kind of a different turn.
I don't know. Like this is the thing, because I do like this movie,
Yeah, me
but
too.
I feel like we've gotten similar things. I mean, The Invisible Man made it feel personal. I mean, you recently watched Send Help, and this was kind of down like that main vein.
But same thing.
It
That's what I'm saying is like, I think what they do with some of these characters, and I gotta say with that character that you just said too, they kind of blur the lines a little too much to the point where you don't even know if you want to root for that person anymore. You know what I mean? And that's why I was like, well, I wanted to get CJ's opinion a little bit on it too, because I was like, hey, well, I need to get another woman's opinion to see where this movie really picks up for them. And like I said, it kind of picks up a little bit when the twist kind of happens, and it's a little bit more revealed. Or I want to say I think when the affair kind of happens is when I think, or when like it's getting closer to that is when it kind of draws the attention a little bit more. So are they able to just disregard everything else? So I'm just like, my attention was drawn since the beginning because I was interested and I kind of knew where this was gonna kind of go. It kind of lost me when it got a little too 50 Shades of Grey, but then when we kind of picked it up back into that whole horror element, like things are happening and stuff, that's when it caught my attention again. So I'm just like, maybe, like you said, give her a little bit more of the backstory and, a little bit more resistance or a little bit more logical resistance and give it a little bit more consequence would probably go a long way with this film. But like I said, it doesn't mean that I hate the film. I just feel like there was certain things that I was like, huh?
There's just some stuff you can't really like close your head to because the movie raises a lot of questions itself. Like she clearly is on parole. So, you know what I mean? So like what the fuck? Like, like I don't know. I don't understand that. That's the thing.
Certain questions.
Certain questions are raised, and that I don't even the second part. To me, I don't want to have to see her do this whole seductive thing just to get the job done, quote unquote, get the job done, and then now we're moving on to a third installment. Like she needs a lot more resistance. She needs the cops. She can't just be doing this.
Yeah, she's like, you can't just have free range to, like, the neighborhood really, like, everybody knows but nobody knows at the same time, right? Like everybody knows like, oh, this guy really has it put together, but nobody knows that things are going crazy. Like I said, we see movies where like the neighbor kind of knows and they kind of raise the red flag. There's scenarios where like the kids get involved or something, but like this one, it was different because they knew the scenario and replaced themselves with somebody else to do basically the dirty work. And on top of that, you berated that person at the same time in order to get it to the point where it needed to be. So it's like, I like I said, I enjoyed it, but certain things just need to be fixed for sure. But yeah, I would just leave that at that, and I would just give it my rating at the end of it. 1 to 10, 1 being the worst, 10 being the best, 5 being in the middle. I gotta say, I give it like a 7. I really enjoyed it. I'd watch it again. I don't think it's a terrible movie. I think it's above average. Like I said, this concept is it's getting a little played out. I guess maybe this is just from a guy's perspective when it comes down to these, types of films. But I do enjoy like I said, a good chunk of the aspects of this film for sure. I'm hoping we get a little bit more gory with the next one. Hopefully with a little bit more money in the back end. I don't know if that'll ruin the whole, the whole feel of this film, but I personally felt a little bit more on edge when, the actual torture and stuff was kind of going down. So.
You said Kristen Dunst is supposed to be in the sequel?
Yeah, she's going to be playing apparently alongside Sydney Sweeney this time, which, I mean, we're going to talk about that after you gave your rating, so.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because I like the movie.
Mm-hmm.
But you're right. There's a lot of more things here. Maybe we need a woman. Maybe we're just being real men about this. You know what I mean?
I mean, that could be the case too, where that's why I'm like trying to be careful a little bit here.
So I mean, I liked it, but when I watch it again, I mean, I kind of know the twist already. I guess I'd watch it again for like the 2, because I know Sydney Sweeney. I know we have an extensive conversation about her coming, but she needs work. So I don't know if I could watch it again. Mm-hmm. If everything is gonna be like, oh no, hey, you want a bologna sandwich? Like what? Come on. Give me some oomph, Sydney, please.
Right.
I think I'm with you. I think I'd give it like a 6 out of 10.
A 6 or 1 point underneath.
Yeah.
A little bit better than your average movie, but not amazing or spectacular.
Yeah. I did have fun. I did enjoy it. It was cool.
Okay. Yeah. And you did bring up the whole Kristen Dunst. There is a sequel in the works. I think we've even kind of discussed it a little bit on one of our topic episodes, just in passing. Kristen Dunst is going to be playing the opposite of Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney is coming back, which we already got it confirmed. I'm hoping we get a little bit more, but exactly that. Sydney Sweeney as a actor herself is just becoming eye candy for the male gaze, and for a part of me could say, hey, I'm down for that, right? But then a part of me is like, hey, no, we need a little bit more depth from a character. You can't go and do certain roles, like she did Christie, right? Isn't that one of the roles that she did? Isn't that like a boxing film?
Yeah.
Yeah, like you did that, and then you go back to Euphoria and to like films like this. It's like we need to evolve and not go back. And I said this to you on the phone, but I think it is funny because it's like I feel like she's kind of getting into a spot where like Margot Robbie was. Margot Robbie doesn't sexualize herself like that, so she's good. But it's getting to a point where Sydney Sweeney's gonna be in that bracket of just like you're gonna get roles only to like sexualize yourself, and that's not. We need acting chops, not, Like I said, it's nice too, but at the same time, we want a little bit more. I would have probably been more excited for a sequel if Amanda Seyfried was going to be playing with Kristen Dunst. So.
Okay. Well, I mean, Kristen Dunst is more seasoned. And I think that's the thing. Putting her up against seasoned actors, I mean, anybody, not just Sydney Sweeney, but you put any new actor against a seasoned actor and they're just going to smoke them.
So
you know
you're
what I mean?
telling me that the series is just going to be like a rookie actor just going up against veterans every single time? Like, who's going to be the final boss in the third one? Is it going to be like a Helen Morena or something?
I mean, I would.
That's Jason Statham's mom in Fast and the Furious. So.
Oh.
The British lady.
You know, see, you say I know that I know her from there, but you tell me her name, and I just was like, wait,
Yeah,
whoa.
I know that. I know, but like I'm saying, that's like the final boss. Like she's gonna be going against her acting chops, and I just don't want to see.
You put. I mean, it just goes. It's unfortunate, and I don't even want to talk about Sydney Sweeney being like a rookie, but I mean, compared to the people she's going against, they've been doing it for much longer, and like that's the problem. Because I'm sure she's good. Like you said, I think her best Euphoria season 2. I think when she was acting crazy and doing all that shit she was doing for Nate Jacobs and all them, she does great there.
But she was
I don't
still
know
like
where along the way
sexualized in
she
that
decided to
season
get
too,
lazy
right?
about it.
She was
Huh?
still like sexualized in that season too, right?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of what her character is. She plays a dumb blonde, but the point is that in season 2, she kind of gets like a fire under her because she's trying to be like Maddie, and so she kind of like picks up a little bit more seriousness, and you actually feel what she's talking about. But other than that, right now she's kind of they're grifting a little bit in season 3. I know this is not a Euphoria topic, but she's kind of grifting and like getting real people mad about her performance, about being like an OnlyFans model.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the funniest thing because she says stuff that the show put there, and like I could really imagine Sydney Sweeney signed off on that bullshit and was like, "Yeah, this is cool. They got mad at me for jeans. Let's fucking, you know what I mean?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I've been seeing
But
a lot of the things where people are like, "Oh, this is like the humiliation ritual. This is, them getting back at her for the Gene commercial, whatever, blah blah blah." I'm just like, "Oh my god,
yeah,
this is
I
just
don't know.
roles that she picks."
I know she signs up for this shit,
Mm-hmm.
and she swears it's for the betterment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But so the Housemaid is a series of books. I didn't know it was a book
Yeah,
series.
yeah. Oh, I should probably mention that in the beginning too. Yeah.
So you got the Housemaid, and then you have the Housemaid's Secret. That's what this next one is, and the Housemaid is watching. So maybe if the first one sets up the murder, and then the second one she's like, "Oh, I'm not the only one with a secret," and then the Kirsten Dunst has her own little secrets or whatever. I can get behind it, but if it's just another, oh, let's just have this girl murder, do what she does against these people. I didn't mean to spoil like that. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but have
it's
do
just a business now. It's just like, oh yeah,
do
just
her job,
call
do her
one eight
business, do her
hundred.
side hustle.
Yeah, just call 1-800. It's over with.
Right. 1-800 freedom. You know what I mean? Some shit
Yeah,
like that. Like if she's doing things like that and it's just a constant retelling, I don't think it'll survive. But if I think anything that she's in, if she's gonna market herself as unfortunately having sex and stuff, people gooners are gonna go up and just see it. That's the problem.
I mean, like I said, it's not a problem for the movie with eye candy because, like I said, it does bring in a different demographic than what is probably. It's like with anything, right? Like you put in a Marvel movie, you obviously want to put in the male gaze too to make sure that, or the women gaze too. You get men that are. Why do you think Brendan Skeller was as jacked as he was and all that stuff? You think that
Well, yeah,
it
no, I
was,
mean that's the
you know what
thing.
I
I
mean?
don't have a problem with sex appeal. My
Yeah,
problem is that making it your whole identity,
that's the problem.
and then you can't act. You're not an actor anymore.
Like
You
when
might as
you're
well
you're hot,
be an
like
actual.
Angelina Jolie. She's good, but she's also a great actress too. So I mean,
Exactly.
you could do both. You could do both.
You can do both. You can do both.
But you opt for one, and you opt for the sexualization one, and it kind of seems a little lazy in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? Let's you know,
Like you're gonna put the whole film on Kristen Dunst's back? You
yeah.
can't. It's not
You
fair.
put the whole film on Amanda Seyfried's back and Brendan.
That's not fair. It's not fair.
It's not fair. They still all got the same paycheck. It's fucked up. But let us know what you guys think, though. The Housemaid is out right now. I bought it on digital. I don't know where Josh watched it. I don't know if I bought it on physical. I don't know.
I watched it on Stars.
So you got cable. Interesting.
No, it fucking I bought the little subscription.
Oh, nice. Oh, so you watched it on kind of like streaming, I guess.
Yeah.
You're just able to get like the little streaming extension. Okay, so you could watch it on Stars. Maybe it'll be on streaming pretty soon. Go watch it on physical media. I mean, that's the one that I always opt for. Bling. Let us know your guys' thoughts. There is a sequel coming out pretty soon, so maybe you guys want to make sure you catch this one up. And it is based on book, so if it is a whole saga, you might want to go ahead and catch up. Let us know your guys' thoughts. Any movies we should be reviewing, TV shows, topics we should be talking about. You want to hear your voice on one of these episodes one of these days? Josh, let them know where they could do all that.
Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at FilmBros Podcast. Was no episodes are up. You can sit there for any news and movies wants to cover. Bust out link in the social that just gave you. It's like a Patreon. You subscribe. You help the show grow. Greatly appreciate it. Listen to us any which podcast at FilmBros Podcast, Spotify, YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, and wherever you get the podcast. Be part of the conversation. Twitch at FilmBros Podcast. And once all said and done, subscribe to YouTube at FilmBros Podcast.
And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys on the next one.
Talk to you guys later. My bugger.